I love folk tales. But mosquitoes, why they always buzz around people's ears, isn't it annoying? Well, I think just about every country, every culture has the answer to that question. But in the Philippines, they know. And I'll tell you how they know. Because there was this fish pond near the rice fields. And the fish pond was a place where many small creatures lived. I mean, of course, the fish, and then there were fireflies and snails and frogs and birds and crabs. And that was the problem because one of these crabs was twice as big as the others. He was known as king crab, but he actually had a name in this story. I kid you not, Maga. Now, Maga was always in a bad mood. I mean, Crabby, he was kind of crabby squared, and he had these huge pincers, and those pincers, they could cut any of these small creatures in half. And so when he was in a bad mood, when he was sidling around, clacking his pincers, they all got scarce. They hid under the murky water, or they hid behind rocks, or they hid in the reeds, and they quaked because it was horrible with him around. But, sometimes he was in his hole, in his house, under the mud, way under the mud. However, this night he couldn't sleep. And when he couldn't sleep, he was in a very bad mood. And he came out of his house and he sidled up and down, the way a man might pace to try to wear himself out. But it wasn't working. Sidle, sidle. And so he called his sheriff, Kagang. And he said to the sheriff, you get me those frogs. Those frogs, they can sing me to sleep. They've done it before. Kagang was old and slow, and his antennae were brittle, and his claws went snip, snip. But he was loyal, and he went out and he gathered up some frogs, and the frogs all appeared, and they began to sing. Kojak, Kojak, sit back, sit back. Bleed deep, now go to sleep. And they were much more harmonious than I was. They were kind of hypnotic and rhythmical. And it actually started to work. And Maga and Kagang were getting sleepy enough so they could go back under the mud into their holes and fall asleep. But there was a problem because Maga snored very loud. I mean, it was like thunder. And it actually reached the heavens and it started to rain. And the frogs were very amused and they started to laugh, kind of chuckle, holding their big fat bellies. But after a while, it just came out, and that reached the ears of Maga and Kagong. And he came out and he said, what are you laughing about? You woke me up. And they weren't going to say because you were snoring so loud, it was ridiculous. The rain came down. So a very brave little frog came out and he said, well, it was the snail. The snail walked by with the house on his back. He's such a ridiculous creature and we just couldn't keep from laughing. We're sorry, Your Majesty, King Crab. Get away, get away. And so he dismissed the frogs and he said to Kagang, you bring me that snail. And off Kagang went slowly, slowly, but the snail is also slow. And he managed to find that snail and bring that snail in front of Maga. And the snail was quivering. You should have seen his antennae. It was terrible. And he said, what's wrong? What did I do? Why did you go onto my property and make the frogs laugh? I didn't mean to. I was just trying to get away from the firefly because she was flying so close. She would burn my house, and it's my only house. Yeah, get rid of them, said Maga. Get me that firefly. And so Kagang, in his slow, exhausted way, went to find the firefly. By now, it was the middle of the day. It was hot. And Maga was getting hotter and hotter. You could tell his orange was getting deeper and deeper, a sign of his extreme displeasure. And here came the, the firefly. You know about the firefly? We heard about the firefly. And you know, she said it was because those mosquitoes were trying to bite me and they bit me and I didn't like it and I was trying to get away and I didn't know the snail was there. I wasn't going to burn his house. Ah, get out of here, said Maga. Bring me, he said to Kagang, that mosquito. Slowly, and now it was getting dark, slowly, slowly, with brittle antennae, he went. He actually found the perpetrator. He brought the perpetrator in front of Maga. Now, did this mosquito quake and quiver? No, he was kind of cocky. He said, "What is it, Your Majesty? What do you want?" Why did you bother Firefly, who almost set Snail's house on fire? What were you thinking? Said Mosquito. Well, you know, that's just what we do. And you know what that mosquito did? He was very bold. He flew actually in between those giant pinchers. And sure, snap, 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 snap. But he was too fast and he was too clever. And it didn't work. Snap, 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 snip, snip, snip from Kagang. And then finally it went on long enough that snip, the mosquito fell dead on the ground. You think that was the end of it? The mosquito had a lot of friends. A veritable battalion came and they tried to bite the crabs on the one place that they were soft on their eyes. Snap, 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 snip, snap. Nothing worked. And so, finally exhausted and always pissed, as the case may be, Maga and Kagang went under the mud and went into their holes to get away. And you think that was the end of it? No. Because whenever mosquitoes look in people's ears, they see a hole and they say, maybe in that hole, the crab will come out and we can get him again. Zzz. So no, you can be big and orange and bullying and mean, but if you have a lot of friends out there who are small and swift and loyal, look what they might be able to do. Thank you.